Trojans go. LBC pouring Cardinal and gold. The next man up is the next Heisman. Only bleed USC, yes, we've been built to win. Catch roses while we ball all across the map. Too strong, fight on, it's Trojan Talk on tap.
Welcome, Trojans, to this episode of Trojans Talk on Tap, a very special episode. Glad to have with us class of 2024, new USC commit, four-star safety out of the San Fernando Valley, North Hollywood, Marquis Gallegos, and his father, Sam. Guys, welcome to Trojans Talk on Tap.
Thank you for having us.
Wow, what an amazing couple days. As we were talking, Marquis, backstage, you are a new USC Trojan. Tell us about that feeling on Wednesday morning when you wake up and you have to do the final thing, sign the document, your national letter of intent, and get that back to USC. What was the feeling like?
Honestly, a great feeling. I mean, going through this whole recruiting process and having been committed to USC for so long, to finally kind of put that pen to the paper and make it official, there's no feeling like it.
Dad, same question to you. What was that feeling like?
Yeah, great feeling. I mean, it felt like, we finally got to the point where, we always dreamed about, we always talked about. Woke up of course, real early. That paper was signed at 7:01. 7:01 a.m. Yeah, we're just glad to be part of the Trojan family, and like I said, just a dream come true.
Well, for Trojans out there that follow recruiting, it used to be the February day, but now it's early signing day. It's like Christmas, right? USC fans got 19 presents, and you were one of them, Marquis. And what an amazing journey. Tell us about, first off, happy holidays to your family.
Thank you. To you.
Congratulations, Marquis. I understand you finished high school yesterday at Sierra Canyon, and you will be an early enrollee on January 8th at USC. Is that correct?
Yes.
Wow, what a couple of crazy days, huh?
Yeah, definitely.
Tell us about your journey. I want to share it with our audience here on Trojans Talk on Tap. But when did you have an idea that, wow, it would be great if I could play at USC? Do you recall at that point in your life when that was?
Yeah, so growing up, always been a huge USC fan. Always, I grew up in the San Fernando Valley, so USC was like pretty much all I knew. I remember at young ages, my dad actually took me and my older brother to one of their spring games when Juju and Adoree were on the team. And I remember that being like a great day for me and my older brother. And since then, I've always been a USC fan, always been a dream school, and would love to play for him. And now that it's a reality, I think it's kind of a dream come true for me.
Wow, that's special. And I think maybe we have a little something right there. That might have been the spring game there.
That was it right there. Yeah.
There you go. So, and so, what age were you approximately?
10.
Yeah, I think it was 10, 9 or 10. Yeah.
So, Sam, you can't be where you're at, Marquis, without the support and love of your parents.
Definitely.
And Sam, you're a youth football coach. You have an older son, I believe his name is Isaac, that is a safety at New Mexico State University. Congratulations. And did you have a vision for Marquis at that age, and you wanted to do what you could to help him achieve his dream?
Yeah, I've always had that vision, of course. The closer you get to it, like, when they're little, I guess you as a parent, you believe like, everything's possible, we can push them to do everything. Once they start getting a little bit older, you start getting close to it, you start doubting it a little bit, just because you start finding out how difficult it is, to be a D1 athlete. For us, actually, it was my nephew that kind of paved the way. He actually went to Colorado, started all 4 years at Colorado. So he kind of showed us like, what, this is possible, this kind of pushes, let us know that it's kind of possible. And, just kind of made everybody work harder, even me as a coach, as a parent, and just made me want to work harder and get my kids to that position, where they get, to play at the highest level and, earn a degree and earn an education. And that's what we're at right now, with my older son. It was a different path. He wasn't as highly recruited as Marquis, just because he kind of developed a little late. He was more, developed his senior year. Senior year was when he got bigger. Marquis was that size at ninth grade. So
Wow.
he had an advantage. And you just start learning about the different, circumstances that come through trying to be a D1 athlete, and the roads are different all the time. But, if you keep pushing, keep on, doing your work, focusing on yourself, stuff can happen,
Yeah, that's great. And at some point, Dad, it has to happen where you can only do so much, but
Right.
Marquis he's got to pull the rope. He's got to do it for himself. He's got to put the extra work in. And Marquis, talk about that. When did you kind of know that, look, my dad's put me in a good position. I'm out here. I'm holding my own, and I can do this. I can go after becoming a D1 player like my older brother. When do you recall that age when that happened?
Yeah, so I would say as soon as my dad became my coach in Pop Warner, which was sixth grade, is when I started to feel like okay, like this is what I really wanted to do. And it was around that time where I actually stopped playing basketball as well. So football became my only sport. So that's when, all my focus kind of turned to football. And I kind of set it in my mind, like, this is what I want to do. And throughout that time is when my older brother was in high school. And, seeing him perform and seeing him do what he was doing on Friday nights was inspiring to me. And it kind of pushed me to follow in his footsteps. And to be honest, I wanted to do everything he was doing. And he was kind of a role model for me.
Yeah, that's extra special. And growing up here in Southern California, and I believe your background, are you Mexican, El Salvadorian? Is that correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, and there's not many Hispanics that play D1 football. There's a few that played at USC,
Right.
most notably Mark Sanchez. There was Anthony Munoz, most famous, and there was a linebacker out of San Diego by the name of Zeke Moreno. But there's not many. And living in Southern California, if you're Latin, you're probably playing the other football, soccer, or you're a wrestler. People know there's a lot of great high school wrestlers, but football players not as much at a younger age. So you had some adversity, I would imagine, both you and your dad. How did you overcome that? Maybe because there isn't a lot of Hispanic football players, and maybe you weren't considered, maybe overlooked, let's say.
Right. Obviously, like you said, it definitely gives you advantage. But at the end of the day, like, the game needs to be played and the work needs to be put in. So I put in the work to put myself in the best position I possibly could to showcase my talents. And I think it kind of paid off, and I think it went well for me, and kind of just defeating that advantage and getting the feeling of like, okay, like I signed that paper, made it official, I'm going to the next level. It was like a crazy feeling for myself and my family, and it's truly a blessing.
That's great. That's great. So tell me about your first offer. Do you recall which school offered you first, and approximately when was that?
Yeah, it was Fresno State, and it was after my first game of my sophomore year.
Okay, and was that Kalen DeBoer? Was he the coach at the time? Or was that Tipper?
Yeah,
Kalen DeBoer.
Yeah, it was DeBoer. Yeah, it was Kalen DeBoer. Yeah.
Wow. And now he is in the college football playoff at the University of Washington. He was just named the college football coach of the year. Yeah. Obviously he saw talent in you, and that's a great story. Wow. And I think I read the story that Lincoln Riley was hired just in November of 2021. A few days later, he went up to Chaminade where you were playing, and he sat down with your coach. What's your coach's name at Chaminade?
David Machuca.
David Machuca. And he showed him some film on you, and he saw something he liked, and 3 days later, he made you an offer. Is that true?
Yes.
What was that like? knowing that Lincoln Riley's coming into LA, he's coming up and he's sitting with your coach watching film, and you get an offer 3 days later?
Dream come true. I mean, it kind of came out of nowhere, considering like he had just been hired, and there was a lot of buzz around that, and a lot of just hype around him coming. But the fact that he came and kind of 3 days later extended an offer to me was definitely a dream come true, and something that I honestly didn't see coming, but it happened so fast, and it was a blessing.
So that was just the end of your sophomore season. Would that be correct?
Yes.
So it was about early December of 2021.
Yeah, I think it was in January.
Oh, in January? Okay.
Yeah.
So things had to progress after that. When USC offers you, I'm sure you're getting all these other offers.
Right.
And what did that do for your confidence? What did that do for your drive, your commitment to finish? How did that feel?
Boosted everything. Boosted the drive, boosted the confidence, boosted everything, because now I know like I have to perform. Like getting offer from USC and all those other schools kind of sets a standard for me. So I know I have to perform to that standard, and day in and day out, put the work in and perform on Friday nights.
That's great. And Dad, Sam, how did you feel when you got that offer? Your son got that offer from Lincoln Riley in USC.
Oh man, I teared up, man. To be honest, he had invited us out to like I guess a recruiting event, on a Saturday. We're watching a USC basketball game, and they called us into his office, and I think that's the first time we ever met him, right?
Yeah,
we met him, and took us into the office, and of course extended the offer. And I wasn't expecting it. Both of us weren't expecting it, but yeah, I honestly teared up, man, and I was like, man, it was just so emotional, so surreal moment for us, it's just something that, of course, you kind of like dream about, think about, but in the back of your mind, you don't really think it's gonna happen,
Yeah.
And yeah, that moment was just, one we'll always remember, for sure.
And remember that. And remember that. That's a very special day for both of you. And congratulations on all the hard work. You got some love coming here from Roger Dodger. Welcome to the Trojan family. Also saying this guy's a playmaker, and you are. I read Greg Biggins of 247 Sports calls you a ball hawk, and you're physical. You can tackle an open space. And why don't you describe your style of play for the audience here who's going to start to get to know Marquis Gallegos?
I think Greg Biggins said it well. Definitely a ball hawk. When the ball's in the air, definitely going to go get it. I play good in space. I could come down and tackle. I could play in the box. And I think just overall, I could do it all.
Well, one of the things he shared in that article is your instincts and your knowledge of the game. You watch film, and by knowing that, and this is a credit to you, Marquis, for probably listening to what your dad was preaching and preaching for a number of years. You watch the tape and you can get a step quicker, and you're just out there getting to the play a lot sooner. So do you sit down and do you watch film? Do you anticipate? Is that part of your game?
Yes, it definitely is. I think the mental aspect of the game is just as important as the physical aspect of it. Watching film, allows you to be one step ahead and kind of expect or kind of have a good sense of idea of like what could be coming. And that allows you to play faster. It allows you to play more freely. And yeah, so it's definitely a huge part of my game.
This guy, Jeff Rodriguez. Thanks, Jeff, for tuning in. Happy holidays to you. He's a loyal viewer on the channel. He said, dude had 4 picks as a freshman on varsity. I believe that is true. Correct, Marquis?
Yeah.
And Chaminade, I think
5-game season too.
Yeah.
It was a 5-game season.
That was a 5-game season your freshman year?
Yeah, that was a COVID season.
Oh, that was COVID season.
Yeah.
And then I think your sophomore year through 5 games, you had 3 interceptions. Is that true?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So not only do you tackle in space, but if they want to go ahead and throw over the top, you'll let them know that you're there, right?
Definitely.
You're able to make plays. So pick your points.
Right.
That's awesome. That's really awesome. Let's see. We also got Roger Dodger. I'm liking the safety room with Gallegos and the new additions. Yeah. So talk to us about, you saw some of the changes that went on. Obviously, Lincoln Riley's first year, shortly after you got your offer, USC goes 11-3. They kind of had a maybe not so great end of the year, losing in the Pac-12 championship game, then losing the Cotton Bowl, and then last year going 7-5 and changes on defense. What were your thoughts? I'm sure you were getting a lot of phone calls. You were also recruited by Notre Dame. You were recruited by a number of schools, but you took visits to Notre Dame, Oregon, Michigan, I believe Oklahoma. What was the recruiting like during the season where Alex Grinch wasn't having a great year with the defense?
The recruiting was kind of surprising. Obviously, getting calls from other schools, considering the fact that USC wasn't performing to the standard that everybody expected. But I mean, throughout that time, I stayed locked in with USC. I never lost faith. I believe in Coach Lincoln Riley and what he's doing with the school and where he's leading the program. And I've honestly never second guessed or doubted him as a coach or as a person. So I mean, he has my full trust, and that's the reason why I stayed committed and locked in with USC throughout the whole thing.
That's great. I was just showing some pictures of you carrying the Mexican flag to all the different schools that you went to. Share with our audience your pride in being Mexican American and El Salvadorian, your heritage and what that means to you.
It means everything to me. I think, as my dad said earlier, and as you said earlier, there's not a lot of Latinos playing football in general. Obviously, there's a couple here and there that you can find, but I think kind of just representing that culture in a sport that doesn't really show much love to our culture is huge. And I think I want to use it as a platform to inspire the younger generations and kind of pave the way for them as well.
Well, that's outstanding, young man. And one sport that I failed to recognize and strike me down, but there's a lot of great Mexican fighters, and they're tough.
Yeah, right.
So I would imagine you can deliver a blow yourself on the field. Is that correct?
Yes.
And Sam, you were a safety. Now your three boys are safeties. You've probably been exchanging a few blows with your kids, training them, I would imagine, huh?
Yeah. I mean, I tell them you got the instinct from somewhere, man. It ain't just come naturally.
Yeah, that's awesome. So going on these recruiting trips, you had a chance to check out these other schools. And one thing, obviously, you never wavered. This was a dream of yours. But did you have any doubt during the recruiting process when you saw Alex Grinch get fired and you saw USC, what happened to USC last year? Did any thought ever creep into your mind about, hey, maybe USC has changed and it's not the same as when Lincoln Riley first started?
For me personally, no. Obviously, it crosses your mind like, okay, they're not playing to kind of the standard everyone's expecting. And more specifically, obviously, their defense was struggling a lot. But just kind of being in constant communication with Coach Lincoln Riley and kind of just having him, having him there just to talk to whenever either it was me who had questions or my dad, kind of helped a lot, keeping that relationship and that constant communication. I think as soon as Grinch, was let go or whatever, Lincoln was the first one to call, kind of talk to me, let me know that he's there if I ever have any questions, kind of reassured me that he's going to make the right hires and continue guiding the program down the right direction. And I think that having him there for me, and it's different when it's a position coach calling you and when it's the head coach. So I think having him be the one to call me kind of meant something to me. And it's one of the reasons why I've always trusted him since day one. And having him there for that reassurance kind of really kept me locked in with USC.
Well, that's great that you shared the information with us. Lincoln Riley had his press conference on Wednesday, and he talked about that. He talked about having the right players that want to be at USC, that didn't waver, that didn't blink, and that stayed true to their commitment. And you're obviously one of those fine young men, Marquis. Congratulations
Thank you.
on your character and believing in Lincoln Riley. And that's not the easiest thing to do, because recruiting has changed in the the new era of NIL, transfer portal. But congratulations to you. I'm going to share a little graphic right now. And people follow recruiting. They like to follow information, data. You were at Sierra Canyon last year. They have you as the number 33 safety in the country, the number 26 player in California. I think those numbers are a little low based on your production. You were at Chaminade, then Sierra Canyon. In Southern California, people look at Modern Day and St. John Bosco, and they don't, which is a disservice to a lot of other programs out there. But sometimes that's the way it is. I think you're on the rise. Dad, what do you think?
Yeah, we kind of, stopped paying attention to those ratings.
Okay.
And I think too many people do pay attention to those.
Yep.
That, it's unless, like right now you see the class rankings, who's got a better class, who's this, and they're going by rankings of people that don't really see those players play, right? Like, I mean, I think he dropped within like 2 months of not being in football. I think he dropped like 100 spots in one of the platforms, where like that makes no sense. He dropped from like January to March to 100 spots. Like, there's not even football being played at that time. So it just being obsessed with or like focusing on that is just ridiculous. Like, to me, we pay no attention to it anymore. That doesn't matter. I mean, if the school is recruiting just by the stars they have, like someone else is giving them, then they're not doing their job as recruits. If there's a guy they don't like and he's a 4-star, but they don't like him, why go after him? Just to bump up their stats or their recruiting stats. So we stopped once the offers came and everything else came. We stopped paying attention to those. And the more you talk to schools, they have different strategies on how they go about this. They have their own star ratings that have, and that's all we cared about. Whatever, how we were rated at those schools, not, within those platforms.
Hallelujah. Can you say it louder for those ignorant Trojans that are in the back that worry about star ratings and losing St. John Bosco and Modern Day players to outside of California? Can you say it a little bit louder, Sam?
Yeah, man. Those
you don't matter.
Those don't matter, man. Those don't matter.
Okay. The fact that your son, the fact Marquis earned Coach Lincoln Riley's respect after watching his tape and getting an offer, that tells you all you need to know. Right. Okay. And doesn't matter who's coaching at USC from a defensive side, is that when you got the head coach having conversations with you, Marquis, obviously that was very critical and helped in the decision-making process.
Yes, definitely.
So you go to Sierra Canyon for your last year, and you're going against one of your teammates in high school your senior year, and now he's a Trojan, Xavier Gordon, the top wide receiver in California. How was that in practice this year, going against him every day?
Extremely helpful to my game and extremely developmental. Not only him, but we also had a couple of great receivers that have went D1 as well. And kind of having that competition in practice every day is, huge. Like, obviously on the defense side of the ball, very competitive. On the offense side, same thing. So, I mean, throughout the summer and kind of into fall camp and even in the season, we go at it all day, every day. All we wanted to do was scrimmage. We wanted offense against defense. We wanted one-on-ones. Like, we wanted the competition in practice. And I think that translated very well into our season and played a huge role of why we had such a successful season and were able to do the things that we did.
Why don't you go ahead and give a shout out to your boys, those wide receivers that you're talking about?
Quasi, Gilmer, UCLA, obviously Xavier Jordan, Cole, Cam, all my guys. Thanks for the competition, and hope to see them do well in the next level as well.
Iron sharpens iron, right, Dad?
Definitely, yes.
You got a fan here, Dad, from Jeff Rodriguez. I like Dad. Man speaks the truth. Certainly.
Always try to.
Certainly. Roger Dodger also brings up a question. Lynn and Belk coaching the DBs next year makes me excited. How do you feel about both of you guys? How do you think about Coach Danton Lynn getting hired and Coach Doug Belk, now the secondary coach?
So with Lynn, for me, it's kind of a unique situation. He actually recruited me while he was at UCLA.
Okay.
So I had met him before and kind of had a brief relationship with him prior to him coming to USC. When he was at UCLA, I thought he was a great coach, still do. I'm excited to, see what he's going to do with the defense. And, I truly believe in his philosophy and kind of how he runs his defense. Coach Belk, I got the chance to talk to him over the phone, still yet to meet him in person, but talked to him over the phone, kind of, talked over a couple of things with him, and love his philosophy as well, and kind of love the person he is, very truthful, very straight to the point coach. And I think that's what you need. And I'm excited to, work with the both of them.
That's great. Hey, we're getting short on time here, but I'm going to open it up to the audience. If you have any questions for either Sam or Marquise, please go ahead and put them in the chat right now. Appreciate everybody showing up. And what a great time for the Marquise and the Gallegos family. And Marquise, I want to ask you a question. When you were facing adversity, what kept driving you? What could you share with young men out there that might be Mexican-American that maybe have a struggle, but what kept you pushing forward and believing in yourself?
A big part of it was my support system, my family, having my parents and my two brothers, and honestly more than that, aunts, uncles, all that. Having a huge support system really kept me motivated and kept myself pushing myself and kind of kept going. And for the younger kids, I mean, anything you set your mind to, you could do. And I think that's, kind of very cliche to say, but it's true. At the end of the day, if you put the work in and you truly devote yourself to something, the results will pay off and it'll show. And anything you want to do in life, like it takes a certain standard of things you have to do to kind of achieve those goals. And if you're not willing to do that certain standard, then obviously it might not work out. But if you are and you put yourself to it, then the results will definitely show.
Well, credit to your family, your dad, your mom. It's amazing to raise not only one D1 athlete, but two and possibly three.
We're hoping on it, man.
Yeah. You know what? I have no doubts. And I want to share something with you, Marquise. My godparents, their last name is Gallegos.
Oh,
so
nice.
It's very special for you and for me. That last name, it's a wonderful thing in my family. And I actually have, I call them my cousins. You know how it is. But I got my compa, I got my Nina, my Nino, and they have three boys. And one of them has got a son who's a quarterback at Covina High School. His name's Isaac Gallegos. And he was a freshman, and he got brought up to the varsity for CIF. So Isaac, shout out there. You guys can be related. Who knows? We can all be related. But Isaac Gallegos, listen to what Marquise is saying out there, what he's throwing down. You got 3 years, young man. You go work hard, and anything is possible. Would you say that's the truth there, Marquise?
It definitely is. And another thing I would say is cherish the time you have in high school. I mean, for me personally, it went by fast, but it's some of the best times of my life playing high school football, and definitely I'll remember for the rest of my life. So cherish those times.
That's wonderful. We got a couple questions. We're getting up against it. I really appreciate both of you coming out. Shout out to your mom, Kenny.
Yes.
Okay. Kenny is short for what? Or Kenny is a nickname?
That's her name.
That's her actual name. Okay. Well, Kenny follows me on Twitter. Thank you, Kenny. And she helped set this thing up. And without mom, yeah. So big shout out to your mom. I want you guys to have a Merry Christmas. But here's a question real quick. This is from Jackson Johnson. Marquise, what's your favorite memory of the SC UCLA rivalry and the USC Notre Dame rivalry?
I think every game was a big deal to me, like considering those rivalries. Last year, watching USC go into the Rose Bowl and beat UCLA kind of in a crazy kind of fashion game, high scoring, kind of action-packed game was really cool for me to see. And then for USC Notre Dame, actually, last year when Notre Dame came to the Coliseum, I was actually there at that game and kind of was able to watch that as well. So I think, every win we can get under our belts in those rivalries is huge, and they mean something. And, kind of seeing those two were kind of cool for me.
Well, that's great. Awesome. Really appreciate you two joining us on Trojans Talk on Tap. Sam, congratulations. It's amazing what you're doing. Keep on doing it. Good luck with your youngest son. I believe his name is Xavier. Is that correct?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
And how old is he?
He's 12 now.
12 now.
Yeah, so he's getting there. He's getting close.
Yeah, he's getting close. Marquise, congratulations to you. Graduating high school, becoming a Trojan, enrolling on the 8th. Enjoy this Christmas time with your family, your friends. Celebrate. We're so happy to have you in the Trojan family. I look forward to seeing you in the Coliseum, both of you, and meeting you one of these days. Thank you.
Yes, for sure. Thanks for having us. Appreciate it.
Fight on.
Fight on.